Earlier this week, there was a rumor going around that a new Super Mario Bros. Collection was going to be coming for the 40th anniversary of Mario this year, but it's already been proven false. We already know it is fake, but that really got my gears turning because it made me realize that this is something Nintendo might actually do. And again, of course, the rumor was proven false, but just considering where we're at right now and the fact that we're probably not getting a 3D Mario this year, and it probably won't be until late next year at the earliest, this would be a perfect collection for Nintendo to release right now. And I think there's really two main reasons that they would do this. One is for that reason, they just don't have a 3D Mario ready yet. And two, the new Super Mario Bros. Games are some of the best-selling Mario titles of all time. Now, of course, these numbers have been skewed a little bit thanks to the Switch and the powerhouse that was when it came to selling games. But even still, these games are fondly remembered by millions and millions of people, so I would not be shocked to at some point see a new Super Mario Bros. Collection come out for the Switch and the Switch 2. Now, what exactly would Nintendo do? How would they handle this? Let's just get into reality. I don't think a new Super Mario Bros. Collection would be anything that special per se. I think we'd probably get something along the lines of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. And basically what I would expect is all three of these games would be very bare-bone ports. They would probably just up-res everything to either a 1080p quality for Switch 1 and then maybe 4K for Switch 2. I don't think it'd get any crazier than that. I don't see them including widescreen. They wouldn't include mini games or any other extra bonus modes. It would literally just be the 3 standard games, and that would be it. But hey, at least there's a good chance that they would add the OST, and they'll add it to Nintendo Music, thank God. So that's my prediction for what I think Nintendo would do if they were to actually make this collection. But like, come on, let's have some fun here. I've thought of a bunch of ways that they could actually make the NSMB collection peak with quality of life updates that really wouldn't be that hard to implement, or at least some of these wouldn't be that hard to do. Some of them would take more time, but anyway, all this stuff that I'm going to be mentioning, I think would be totally worth doing and technically feasible for Nintendo to tackle. So for all the games, I think baseline, they need to remove the lives entirely. No one likes the live system in New Super Mario Bros. On any of them because you get kicked back to the level select, you got to click back in, it takes freaking forever to just play the level again. Get rid of the live system completely. All they really have to do here is just make it work like Mario Odyssey. So let's say you get hit by a Koopa or something, or you fall down a pit, you'll lose 5 coins. And depending on how many coins you have, if you end up running down to 0, then the game will kick you back to the level select. And at that point, you'll have to restart the level or restart at the checkpoint of the level. That's it. That one change right there would make the pacing of these games so much better. On top of that, I would love to see widescreen for New Super Mario Bros. 1 and even New Super Mario Bros. 2, although technically that aspect ratio is a little bit wider just because the 3DS screen does have a little bit more length to it, but proper widescreen for the DS and the 3DS titles would be fantastic. I'd also love to see Nintendo recreate the textures for at least the first New Super Mario Bros. Game. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nintendo just up-res from the Wii title and the 3DS title. Even though the models are pretty outdated at this point, they would still look okay in a higher definition, but when it came to New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, they would definitely need to basically redo all those textures. I'd also like to see online play for all the games as well as the extra modes, because I will be talking about extra modes that I could see them including that could make this collection really special. And you know what? Why not add in a couple of new characters too? I think we could get like Toadette for all 3 of the games, maybe add in the Toads for New Super Mario Bros. 1 and 2. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I mean, hey, they can add in Daisy, Wario, Waluigi, but like, again, if they want to stay true to the energy and the style of these games, just add in a couple Toads to the games that didn't include them, and then add in Toadette to all of them. Maybe even include Peachette again. Why not, right? And then the last thing that I highly doubt would happen, but would be super cool, is if Nintendo created a challenge mode that's similar to New Super Mario Bros. U, but it includes all 3 of the previous games. If you remember from New Super Mario Bros. U, there were different tabs for the types of challenges. We could see these exact same kind of challenges, but the tabs are for just each game, and that's that. So you got Mario Bros. DS tab, a Wii tab, Mario Bros. 2 tab. That would be super cool. And again, I would not expect Nintendo to do this. This would be a lot of effort for them just for a re-release, but like that extra thought and care would genuinely be incredible. And it's not like we've never seen this before. If you go to the Kirby's Dream Collection on the Wii, there's 10 brand new stages based off of the Return to Dreamland engine, or not based off, it literally is from the Return to Dreamland engine. So we've seen Nintendo do this stuff for Kirby, so like, why not do it for this too? They don't even have to go that crazy. Just give us like 30, 40 little challenges. Takes a few hours to beat. Just that little extra piece of content right there would make the whole package feel so much better rounded. Now, when it comes to New Super Mario Bros. 1 and 2, I did want to talk about a quick UI change, and this is something that they would have to do, you know, no matter what. We would see this anyway if Nintendo did decide to actually make this collection, and that would be to update the UI a little bit to actually show us how many star coins we've collected in any particular level that we're in. Now, we've seen this in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and obviously U, because they don't have bottom screens, so this would kind of just be a given, but I felt like it was worth mentioning anyway. So now, let's move on to New Super Mario Bros. 1, because I think there's quite a few things in this game that could be updated to make them feel so much better to play. First off, I would love the ability to be able to swap from Mario and Luigi at the level select, or heck, even the Toads. And on top of that, I would love to see Luigi's increased difficulty mode also included in here. So if you don't know, it's actually not the most common fact, but if you play New Super Mario Bros. DS as Luigi, it actually makes the game a little bit harder because the screen will not scroll backwards. So I'd love to see that feature continue to be maintained in this theoretical collection. On top of that, I would still love to have the ability to be able to hold an extra item, which you can already do in the original game. You just have to tap the little item picture on the bottom screen. So I'd like to be able to see that again, but instead you push some sort of button on the controller. It could be the minus button, it could be the Y or X button, who cares? Doesn't really matter what it is. Just as long as that feature is still included, doesn't really matter how it works. And something else that would actually be really cool is to add in the twirl jump. Now, the twirl is already in Mario Bros. Wii and Mario Bros. U, and that makes those games feel a little more fluid to play just because you have a little more sense of control when you're actually in the air. And I don't know if it would necessarily break any of the levels in the first game. I don't think it would necessarily. I just think the twirl jump would just be nice to have. Now, something else, this is another feature that I would not actually expect to happen, but would be really cool, is to add in a 2-player co-op mode. Now, of course, they could potentially do a 4-player co-op mode similar to like Wii or U Deluxe, but these levels aren't really built for 4-player, but 2 players I think would still work really well. And you know, it'd be really cool to be able to play those online with someone else. I mean, that would just be sick. Now, these last couple things, I also would not expect these in the collection, but they would be really, really damn cool, and they would be a great way to showcase the power of mouse mode on the Switch 2 at least, is to include some of the mini-games. Now, if you don't remember, New Super Mario Bros. DS has a large handful of mini-games that you can play, and this was mostly just kind of showcase the technology of the touchscreen back in the day. And I've gone through all the mini-games, and I've got a little bit of a list of ones that I think would actually work by just playing the games in mouse mode. Now, the only challenge here, I guess, is if you were to play this game on a Switch 1, would you be able to play the minigames? I guess if you plugged in a mouse, you could do it. Like, Nintendo very recently released Mario Paint on the Switch Online, and you could just plug in a regular mouse on Switch 1 and still play it just fine. So, sure, I think the minigames still have, I wouldn't say they have a chance, but could it actually be incorporated into the collection? It could. Now, in terms of the list of games that I think could actually work, we've got Like It 2 Launch, Danger Bob-omb Danger, Wanted, Witch Wiggler, Hide and Boo Seek, Puzzle Panel, Coincentration, Memory Match, Picture Poker, Paragon, Mario Slides, Sorter Splode, Bounce and Trouse, Bob-omb Squad, and Trampoline Time. Now, this isn't every single minigame. I tried to pick stuff that it doesn't have too much intense scrolling. A lot of it is just like tapping or like very light sliding. I think it's stuff that would work really well, but this would be a big overhaul of a lot of these minigames. But God, I just want to see the Luigi poker minigames in 4K. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? That would be freaking awesome. And then finally, I would really love to see the Mario and Luigi versus mode make a return. If you don't remember what this is, it was a multiplayer mode where you would join with another friend, and basically you just try to beat stars out of each other, whether you jump on them, use fireballs, stuff like that. There was a handful of levels that you could pick, and it was a really, really fun mode, and I could actually see this working really well as an online mode. And you know what? Screw it. Add in more players. Maybe there could be the possibility of having like 4 players at once. I don't think a couple extra players would necessarily make it too chaotic or anything. But yeah, that's a lot of different ways that they could improve the very first new Soup game. Do I expect any of them if this collection were to come out? No. But let's just dream, let's just pretend, because it's fun. It's just fun. But now let's move on to New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and honestly, there's not a lot here that I think really needs to be updated. It still feels like a very modern 2D Mario game. Like it's pretty much just New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, except with a couple of different power-ups. It's the exact same game. So one of the only things that I would like to see included is perhaps an option to hold one item before going into a level. So pretty much the same thing that you can do on the DS and 3DS games. It would be kind of cool to be able to hold an item and, you know, use it whenever you want while you're in a level. And I'd also love to see the free-for-all and coin battle multiplayer modes make a return, but again, that's just one of those things I just don't see them going out of their way to do. And finally, we have New Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, a lot of the quality of life features for this are pretty similar to the DS game, so I'll pretty quickly go through the ones that I thought up. Still maintaining the ability to hold an extra item. I mean, I feel like this would probably be a given, but again, it would be a nice thing for them to include. And then finally, we've got the twirl jump. This game strangely doesn't have the twirl jump, even though it was in the previous New Soup game. It just wasn't in the 3DS one for whatever reason. It's like, you know, bring that back. And now for my last 2 ideas for this game. Both of these things strangely kind of feel super unlikely, even though at least one of them should be pretty possible to do. And that first one is including all of the DLC content. There was a bunch of DLC in New Soup 2. In fact, it was one of the first Nintendo games to even have DLC. And basically, you could buy like a few levels for a couple of bucks, and you got a bunch of brand new content out of it. And the levels were really fun. They're not like too crazy per se, but they're still really fun. So it'd be nice to see those included. Although, I hate to say this out loud, but imagine Nintendo actually requires us to buy the DLC for the new Super Mario Bros. Collection again. That would be something that modern Nintendo would do. Hopefully that wouldn't happen, because that would be pretty goddamn greedy. And then finally, something that's always kind of bothered me about New Super Mario Bros. 2 is the fact that you don't really get a decent reward for collecting a bunch of coins. Now, there are like special splash screens for collecting 1,000,000 coins and maxing out your coin counter, but you don't really get a reward for that. So basically my main idea here is if you manage to reach 1,000,000 coins, a brand new ultra hard secret level is unlocked from doing this. And I think something to make this a little bit easier is your coin count is actually accumulated from all 3 games. So let's say you played the DS game and the Wii game, and both of those you collected around 100,000 coins just casually playing. Well, your total coin count would be at 200,000, and then you'd only need another 800,000 from any and all 3 of the games to eventually hit the 1,000,000. It would help with grinding. You wouldn't have to do that nearly as much. And having an actual reward for 1,000,000 coins would be really, really cool. Now, I know I've spent a lot of this video just talking about this quality of life stuff and updates and upgrades to make this all better, but let's just be real, none of this is gonna happen.